Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tier 1 of Kona Racing League here. My name is Stefan and I'm joined today by Liam.
Hello. How are you, mate?
I'm doing okay, I currently have a busy life, but I'm glad to be back commentating in Tier 1. How are you, mate?
Oh yeah, I'm not bad at all, and excited for tonight's race. Now, of course, today we're doing a sprint race, so that means a one-shot qualifying, and then straight into the action in about 1 minute and 40 seconds time.
Indeed, indeed. As you can see, it's a different commentary box today as Jamie is unavailable for today, so hopefully he'll be back next week. But we have got us two together, and like you said, we're gonna start with a one-shot qualifying, as we do have a sprint race coming up here for the Mexican Grand Prix. As we see the driver starting now with the laps, it's Leo currently leading, actually Carl leading for the first time this season, and will probably be for the last time, as we're heading now on the straight here into turn one here. Who's the last of the late breakers here? Of course, most of the drivers using no assist. It's Carl still keeping first position actually here, and with Aurelian, the esports challenger driver, taking the lead now with Tony in second. They've been, of course, battling against each other for pretty much the entire season, hence why this first and second here completing sector 1 now. It looks like Aurelian's got a slight advantage here, with Wouter coming back now. Many drivers are switching positions here. We're on board with Tony right now, who's actually taking provisional pole for the moment here, heading into sector 2. This is the tough corner here. Here you see Tony taking it very lovely there, hitting the apex there. Don't want to hit the curb too hard here, as it could unsettle your car, but it looks very nice so far, with a 56.2 middle sector here, still on provisional pole. Tony, will he keep it or will he bottle it? As it's now in the final sector now. Looks very neat and tidy here for Tony, and he's gonna carry on to the line now. It looks very good for the moment, and he'll set a 15.3 now, a 10th ahead of Leo, who's on a really good lap here, and Aurelian only in P4 here for the one-shot qualifying, which isn't the worst position to be in. And we only have 6 drivers disqualified for probably just cutting the chicane and validating their runs now. But interesting one-shot qualifying there. Of course, Tony being up front once again, but Leo being in second place hasn't been there for the last couple of races at all. Has really struggled with performance here, but in P2 for the sprint race here isn't a bad position to be in. What do you think of that one-shot qualifying there, Liam?
Well, it's an electrifying one, and Tony takes a surprise pole considering he's on a pad, but also with Leo coming in second, and of course hasn't been up there in quite some time, so very surprising to see. Welter in third, of course, always up there at the front, and Shazoo Aurelian, I would expect him to be up top, but one thing about Aurelian, yesterday it was his birthday, and as well as that, the esports challengers. Now we won't talk about his performance there. We'll keep it on the down low for now. But yeah, very surprising qualifying. Curity Leroy also up there. I think he's also an IRT. Correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, it's one of those tracks where you have to really nail the qualifying, and it looks like that Tony really nailed this qualifying. But into the sprint race we go.
Yeah, he certainly
No,
did. He certainly did manage to nail that qualifying session. His qualifying pace is usually really impressive there, and usually backs off a bit in the race. But his performance has been really good throughout the entire season here. Hence why he's leading the championship here. He's getting it done in qualifying, and in the race, even though he might not be ahead of Aurelian, who's usually beating him, but he's still then in second or third place. So he's just getting his points together now. But of course we have a sprint qualifying now, so this could really change up the grid right now. Of course the sprint race will set the grid for the actual race, which will be 36 laps long here, usually one stop probably, but for the sprint race of course we won't have to make, or the drivers won't have to make a pit stop now. I expect most drivers to start on the medium tires, but maybe the guys at the back start on the soft tires to gain as many positions early on and defend later on in the race. As we now get on the formation lap here for the sprint race right now, we've got dry conditions for the sprint race. At least don't know what the case will be for the actual race, but looks very nice weather at the moment, right here in Mexico. No, I don't know exact name for Mexican Grand Prix.
Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I have this ready. And did you know it was named after two brothers who died in a non-racing championship in Mexico City? So that's a fun fact. Well, not so fun fact for you. I mean, but there's a fact for you to garner in while you're tuning into the stream.
Well,
but yeah,
go on.
no, you go on.
Oh, that's an interesting fact there. I don't know. I actually didn't know about that fact there. Why this circuit got called like that, but probably good thing. Well, not the reason, but anyway, that doesn't matter. It's a good name to have for a circuit. Certainly, it's of course very different, of course, different language. But I certainly enjoy it now. But let me quickly get the tires and telemetry up right now. As we see, everyone actually starting on the medium tires right now, so no one taking the risk to go on the soft tires now and to try to gain positions early on here. Bit of a surprise there, I can't lie. As Tony actually spins into the pit lane nearly, actually parks it perfectly through hide and seek or something, but we're of course not playing hide and seek today. We're for racing an Alex championship, so for Tony's sakes, I hope it's the only spin of the session today. As the cars are now starting to line up, everyone taking the sweet time there. Of course, you want to get the parking done quite well, as we have actually Wouter, I think, doing the Alonso strategy, parking outside his box. As actually AJ Wuhan has disqualified, tried to extend the yellow line there too much there, and has actually been disqualified. Same for Rectify now. Many drivers using a different style to position the cars on the grid now, as every car is now set on the grid here. We're gonna wait for 5 red lights, as actually Taupe making his debut in tier 1 has also been disqualified, as we have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights and 5 lights. And it's lights out, and here we go. It seems to be a good start there for Tony, and who's using a bit of ERS now. Good start for Wout as well. Straight away jumped a Leo there in bronze tier 1 here. As we have a turbo camera angle here, but it's Leo going side by side with Wout here, going around the outside, and Wout actually gains second place. Has actually been contact down further in the grid with Supermug there, losing a couple of positions right there. And Nave actually gaining some position, now up to P6 now with Evans Joshua, who's also had a decent one-shot qualifying there, now up to P5 here. But it's Wouter making the gain on Leo there from the start, but Tony interestingly keeping the lead right there into turn 1, which isn't very usual here in Mexico, but he's done a good job, as we have some battling in the midfield here with Supermug, Leroy and Boompje, all battling for P10 at the moment. It's of course a tight circuit, drivers want to take risks here to gain as many positions for the actual race here, but it's Boompje keeping team or P10 at the moment. What do you think of that start, Liam?
A crucial start for Oriel Wouter, who gets Leo off the line, and I think further back there was a collision between an Alfa Romeo of Curity Leroy, so he's lost a couple of positions, and I know he won't be happy about that, but it is only a sprint race, and I believe only the top 8 get points, so the sprint race not really that important, but in a track like this it means everything. But of course, Pyro with the excellent start and keeping the lead.
Indeed, he did a good start there. Usually around Mexico you have drivers using quite a bit of ERS there, and actually going side by side with the leader now, and actually leaders going straight on, like in 2016 with Nico Rosberg there. But Tony had a good initial start there and just managed to pull away, used a bit of ERS from the start there, and yeah, just managed to keep the lead there and actually controlling the pace a bit. So that sums up how good Tony's actually been this season. Just controlling the lead at the moment, not getting a lot of penalties there. His mistakes have definitely been cut out compared to last season. So Tony's doing really well there and making it really difficult for drivers like Wouter and Jeroen, for example, even though Jeroen is not here today, unfortunately. So that sums up the performance Tony's been showing this season, and he's also been trying to switch to no assist, as Sausage Joe picks up a 3-second penalty in P20. He's a bit of P19 Carl Scarlett here, track sense a bit, as Tony says fast lap with a 1:18.1 here. Nearly a second clear of Wouter, but it's not easy to do that. As Wouter has used a bit of ERS, he's only on 24% at the moment, and Leo certainly cannot match up with the tempo of those guys ahead, as he's falling outside the 1 second window here. In the Alpine, but still doing a good job there. Hasn't had the most easy amount of races, but good seeing here in the top 3 ahead of Aurelian here, his teammate here, who's trying, actually losing the car a bit right there. You saw the back end stepping away from here, and Aurelian looks to be struggling a bit. Qualified in P4 and still in P4, but dropping outside the 1 second window, interestingly, of his teammate Leo there. So he's got to get it done maybe on the hard tires in the actual race there, as he doesn't seem to have the pace on the mediums at the moment. Evans Joshua has had a good sprint race so far at the moment, even though it's been 3 laps so far, as Eero Kenny picks up a penalty in P13 right there. But Evans Joshua has had a really difficult season at the moment, so seeing him in P5 will definitely boost his morale right there. And actually Tony...
Ooh, there's a spinner! Tony!
Tony's actually spun, like you said, Liam. We were talking about Tony being so clean and consistent throughout the season, and now he actually makes some mistakes right there. So, and not a huge replace. Yeah, go on, Liam.
Yeah, no, that's a rare mistake from Tony, and usually you don't see drivers like him spin, but it's ultimately, this is crucial points fading away from Tony. Don't you forget. Troy A isn't here to defend or to push Tony on, so all Tony needs to do is just finish the race, and he'll gain massive points on Troy A.
Indeed. It's actually Tony leading the championship out of Aurelian now, and with his championship rival Troy not being here today, it is really up to Aurelian to close that gap now, with Tony making that mistake now, down to P7 here, unfortunately. So he's gonna make his way up. Actually, he spins again. Tony is spun again and having to make way as Julian now, who's up to P7 now, but Tony making massive mistakes. This is a disaster for a race so far. Actually losing the car again.
Oh my god. Them tires must be cooked.
Indeed, that his tires must be cooking. Indeed, maybe tire pressures are too high for Tony. Hence why he's struggling now. The car just seems to step out on him on traction right there, which worked in qualifying. Actually, Carl nearly losing the car himself. But yeah, Tony's going into the pit actually. He's not happy with those medium tires. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's not happy with those medium tires, and he actually retires. That's interesting. So Tony's going to be standing in P20 if Sausage Joe doesn't retire right here, and he doesn't. So Tony will start P20. This is a massive opportunity for Leo, who's actually now taking the lead ahead of Wouter now. So Wouter not having the pace at all compared to his usual standards right there. And Leo has taken full advantage of it. Though both Alpines looking really good, as Nilu Safu is actually retired as well. That is in Sector 1, and that brings out a safety car.
Oh.
Now this will for sure spice up the grid, and that is a massive mistake Tony has made now, because if he didn't retire, then he could have easily just catched up to the field again. And now he will, there's actually his car retiring, Tony's car is actually retiring right there. But this is a disaster for Tony, who's gonna start P20 now, and has to do a lot of work there to get into Aurelian.
That was a strange retirement, if I'm being honest. It was, I mean, obviously you don't want to see drivers retire. He suffered no damage, maybe a little bit of talent, but I mean, it's only a sprint race, no points, not that much points is being handed out, so it was a strange retirement, and of course the safety car coming out as well definitely won't help his chances at all. But yeah, as you were saying with Leo earlier, he's taken the lead and now has a really good chance to take pole position for the main race, so this will definitely help Leo.
Indeed.
Wouter will be gunning for the lead, of course, as he always is, Wouter. But yeah, this safety car really spices things up, as there's already soft runners coming out. Eero Kenny, the first of the soft runners.
And this will
Oh,
for
this should
sure,
spice it up.
indeed, this will for sure spice things up a bit. With we predicted some drives maybe starting on soft tires from the start, but now with the safety car coming out now, these soft runners will have 6 laps to fully push on these set and gain as many positions on the grid as they can. As these medium tires will still be fine, but of course these soft tires will provide a lot of grip for those drivers now. So. It's going to be interesting to see where Kenny and Sieb, who are the leading soft runners, will end up right there, and what battles will we see in the grid right now? Because yeah, what battles will we see? These drivers will be very aggressive since, of course, they want to gain some points in the championship as well, and top 8 only get points. I'm pretty sure. I'm not fully aware of this point system, but. Shouldn't really matter. I think the best thing to do is just keep it clean some sort, because I think starting P9 is better than starting P14, of course, so you don't want to take too many risks here. Update about Tony quickly. Tony spun in 4th gear and got some rear wing damage, hence why he spun there in the middle sector.
Okay.
Of course, if you lose a bit of rear wing of your car, then the grip will become very low there for you, and it's easy to spin out the car like that. I can speak from experience. I'm not sure if you can, Liam, but it's a bit of a disaster, that.
Yeah, rear wing damage is ultimately not what you want to hear or feel. And of course, when driving with it, my god, is it disastrous. But yeah, for Tony, not much he could have done there. Hit the car on his own, his own doing, but this is racing. You make or don't make mistakes, so.
Indeed, it's of course a weird game. Of course, you gotta use higher gears, and sometimes car can just step out when you don't realize it. So that's the difficulty of this game. It's of course not the most ideal game, but you still have to try to adapt to that system. As a safety car is actually coming in this lap with Leo leading the grid right now. We saw from the start that it's quite easy to keep on, of course, with the entire straight now. So it's most likely that even P4 could lead into turn 1 here. So it's going to be interesting to see how Leo is going to approach this safety car restart right now, as he's taking a sweet time, using every bit of the track right now, as we see on board with him. He's weaving left and right, taking every bit of the track right now. As actually
And he's gone.
And he's gone indeed, as we get prepared for lap 8 of the sprint race right here, with Leo leading grid, defending the inside of the turn right there, with Wout trying to go in the slipstream, with Aurelian being really close to the back of Wouter here, really close here. And he's not probably quick enough here, saving a bit of ERS right there, and there's battling happening in the midfield right there with AJ Wuhan and Nathan JB and Julian defending positions. Actually, AJ Wuhan losing a bit of the car right there, and Leo has indeed lost the lead, probably lost the back end right there, as Wouter now regains the takes the lead, with Evan Joshua going around the outside in the Red Bull right there, trying to gain third position right there. Both drivers making contact with each other, and Evans Joshua in a half spin now, and he losing the car again. Now side by side with Nathan JB right there. Good battling between the Red Bull and AlphaTauri driver, and now the AlphaTauri driver up to P4 right now. And actually Julian now up to P5 here. So Evans Joshua was potentially in a potential P3 is now down to P6 position here. So disaster of a restart for him right there. As we have Supermerc spinning on the soft tires now. He'll probably start in P18 if there's no retirement anymore. As you've got Kenny now on the soft tires. As you've Carl van den Berg retiring from the session now. Will that cause another safety car now? I don't think so, because we just had one. Now with Kenny actually moving up some position now past AJ Wuhan. I think some damage.
Sure goes Sieb! Sure goes Sieb! And Sieb goes past AJ Wuhan. Almost got Kenny now, and now Sieb is on the attack on Kenny. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and now Sieb tucking into the slipstream, trying to get an extra little bit of speed coming into the first corner. He can't quite make it just yet. Might switch it up for the switchback, and no, has to settle for 9th place at the moment. But good battling and good racecraft from Sieb and Kenny throughout the middle and first sector.
Indeed, as you have Julian and Evans Joshua battling once again for P5 there on the grid. Evans Joshua seems to have decent pace there, as actually Leo is now going down the inside there, so I should stop talking about Evans Joshua right there, as Leo is up to P6 there. Both Alfa Romeo is looking quite good now in P5 and P6, trying to follow each other. Nathan also has had a good restart, trying to stay in the DRS of Leo right there.
Oh, and Kenny's already going to make the move. Sorry to interrupt you. Kenny's going to make the move on Evans Joshua. Evans Joshua defending inside, leaving a little bit of space. Kenny down the inside now, make a little bit of contact, and now Kenny's fully ahead of the corner, ahead of Evans Joshua. IRTC might be going on the attack again. Kenny loses it a little bit, and now he's going to have to drain his battery, try and defend his position, but they're all flashing. Sieb goes to the outside. They're going to make it 3 wide coming into turn 1. No, 2 wide now. And look at the lack of straight line speed that Evans Joshua had. Boompier might attack him, but no. Evans Joshua down the inside, now to the outside, and once again in the inside now. And Jesus, what a scrap we're having here tonight in the sprint race. And it's only a sprint race.
Indeed, what a battle. As they have actually got McLaren going side with the Haas of Boompje right here. Both drivers making slight contact with each other, one on the softs and one on the medium tires here, and the McLaren's got to move down, it looks like, ahead of the Haas. So with Boompje staying out on those medium tires, it's not been ideal, but there's still 2 laps to go after this one, so he could maybe gain 1 position, and especially with Kenny having 6 seconds of penalties and Snoken having 3 seconds, and Evans Joshua has also picked up a penalty now, so if Boompje can stick within the DRS window, then he will still be in P8 for the actual race, which is still a decent position to be in. And Sieb is doing a really good job there. He was the second soft runner after the safety car restart there, and is now all the way up to P7 right now, and potentially in the mix for P5 here, as he's actually following Julian and Leroy right there. Superman picking up a penalty here, as you have Aurelio now picking up the lead here on lap 11 of the sprint race, where I'm moving ahead of Wout there. So Aurelio using those tires on the second to last lap right there. Scarlett picks set the fast lap with 17.8 right here, and Leo has still got decent pace here, using a bit of ERS still to try potentially move ahead of Wouter right here, as we still have some battling going on here with AJ Wuhan struggling right there, now down to P13. What is also a restart he's had right there, with Boompje actually spinning right now down to P16, so he's gonna lose all the momentum right now. And now that's looking good for Taupe on his debut in T1 right here. If he can stick within the DRS window of Evans Joshua, who seems to be really struggling with those medium tires right now, with Snoken going potentially down the inside, thinking better of it, and Cal picks up a warning right there. But Evans Joshua's lost quite a lot of grip, as actually both making contact with each other now. But that was a good save right there from Eero Snoken now, making the move past here, with going side by side, and Evans Joshua thinking better of it, and that's Eero Snoken up to P8 right now, and there's still plenty of cars trying to move ahead of the Red Bull right here. There's at least 4 cars. As Kenny's actually being spun around right there by, I think, the Haas right there of Taupe, one of the drivers right there, as Julian has actually lost position to Sieb right now. So Sieb is, Julian is losing quite a lot of ground right now. But what the sprinters we're seeing right now, quite a lot of drivers making contact with each other right now, as we're now entering the final lap with Kenny retired from the sprint race right there. He's not happy with that incident for sure, which is completely understandable right here. What do you think of that move, Liam?
I mean, it was close come the third sector, so of course it is a bit of an odd one. I won't comment on it too much, I'll let the stewards decide on that. However, Sieb, he's on a charger and he could make it work. He could go into 5th place. He will have 5th place if he... Oh my god, Leroy's just picked up a penalty. I've only just clocked that. Oh, and so has Wouter. So if Leo sticks within Wouter's 3 seconds, it will be an Alpine 1-2.
And picking up a penalty right now, so plenty of drivers picking up penalties. Of course, this is a difficult circuit to get penalties right here, but Aurelian hasn't picked up any penalties for the sprint race right now, as he picks up the sprint race win right here ahead of his teammate Vernie. So it's an Alpine 1-2 in the sprint race right there. Oh god, they'd love to see that in real life, but in the game they're 1 and 2 for the actual race right there. So good job from both Alpines. Out still in P3. just ahead of Nathan JB, who's done a good sprint race right there in P4, so good starting position for him. Siep on the controller has done a remarkable job. I think he qualified P18 after the one shot and all the made all the way up to P5 right now, so really good job there from him. That was a really good sprint race to see at least. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys are ready for the main race.
Yeah, that was an enjoyable 12 laps. So I can't wait for the next few laps as well. So, and hopefully no rain, so we're actually getting actual battles. But yeah, it was quite an unpredictable race, I have to say. Of course, Tony earlier getting rear wing damage. That was unfortunate, but what could he do? But yeah, electrifying start. Hope for more later on in the race.
That for sure, that for sure. I think it was just unfortunate. Sector 3 is a difficult one, of course, to get right, because if you just use the car, if you touch the curb there, then you could unsettle your car right there. So it's not an easy turn uh, to do. Uh,
Losing your words a little bit.
Yeah, I'm losing my words a bit because it was a bit of a chaotic sprint race to see, but the main event is was going to be different, and I'm going to be looking forward to doing so. Um, there was contact in the second to last lap there between Taupe and Kenny actually, which sent Kenny into retirement right there. So a lot of complaining I'm seeing currently in the tier 1 chat, but hopefully it will be better for the main event. So we're gonna see. I'm not even sure if it's gonna be dry conditions for the main race right there. As we see here, the times everyone puts and how many penalties we're gonna get. Of course, tier 1 or the main race is of course gonna be way different because drivers have to be more aware of penalties since we had 12 laps. We had 12 laps already, and people picking up 9-second penalties. So drivers have to be more aware of getting of not getting penalties because you can really gain from it. And if it's a safeguard like we saw in the sprint race, then it could very much change your race and gain so many positions. As we saw, Tope, who was in P12 on the final lap, gained full position just because he didn't have any penalties. So yeah, so the drivers have to be more aware of not picking up penalties. As we now here for the main event, and we have cloudy conditions here. As we see, the crowd is very ecstatic for the start of the Grand Prix. See the drivers here, and we've got the pit crew also standing outside. As you can see on stream, everyone information.
And T-posing. It was also spotted on the F1 esports stream as well, and I remember distinctly the commentators pointing it out. But we'll ignore it. We'll choose to ignore it this time around. As this is not F1 esports, this is Cone Racing League, the true esports, the pinnacle of league racing here, folks. But we got 36 laps ahead of us. 36 laps of anything to happen. I expect a massive comeback from Pyro, but if he doesn't, it's probably going to be a DNF. Mark my words on that. But on a more professional note, I think it's going to be a tight battle for the lead between Shazoo Aurelian and RT Leo.
Indeed, indeed. We are very impressed with Leo's pace right there. Seems to have better pace compared to other rounds and actually keeping up with the leaders right there. So, of course, this is a very difficult track to get right, but if you do get it right, of course, then you come in the front. Good evening to Nathan right there. I'm not, what's his name again, Una Emery, but I'm trying my best as head commentator, as I'm usually, of course, the co-commentator next to Jamie right there. What I'm feeling, I think we're doing a fine job at the moment for what it is, and we're just getting ready for the start of the Grand Prix with both Alpines looking out the front row. God, I didn't expect to say that ever, but here we are. 2023 is high in hindsight. As you're
Yeah.
gonna quickly get the tires up for everyone to see.
I'll run you through the grid while you get the tires up. So we have Shazoo Aurelian taking pole for this main race. We're followed closely behind by IRT Leo, and Leo, you already know he will try and battle for the lead. Oriel Voucher slotting in third. Fourth, Nathan JB, having had a very good sprint race. Fifth, IRTC, again, very good start to the sprint race and finished high up in the grid. Julian comes in P6 ahead of IRT Leroy, so the Alpines lock out the 6th and 7th row, or grid slots. IRT Taupe coming in 8th for his debut, so very good to see from the IRT driver. And Eero Snoken coming home in 9th. Will be looking to make his way up the field, and so is AJ Wuhan. And Evans Joshua, who had a good sprint race but fell off towards the end. IRT Razafai and Sausage Joe lock out 12th and 13th, with Kyle Scarrett closely followed behind in 14th. IRT Boompier, after having a horrendous sprint race, will be wanting to make his way up the field, and so will Supermug in the Aston Martin. Eero Kenny was spun out last race, but has the opportunity now to make it up in the main race. And Carl van der Berg, are you serious right now? Will be wanting to make his way up the field. Nalu Safu in 19th, and of course Pyro, the guy who took pole position for the sprint race, will be wanting to make any ground he can. Any ground.
Indeed. As he's actually nearly spun again in the final sector right there, trying to warm his sides. Actually, interestingly, Aurelian has actually been disqualified from this starting grid. As you can see on the main event right now, this horrendous view, by the way. What happened to Wouter? Wait, Wouter was standing still.
Man, I was told that Aurelian was the best. Clearly not with his grid positioning, and so is Wouter.
Yeah, but
so of course,
I'm not sure what happened there. As we actually have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and slides out, and there we go. Good start there from Leo there right there. As he has even a really good start, trying to get in the slipstream of his teammate right there. As he actually already have a retirement into. Not even 100 meters away. As you got a virtual safety car. What on earth just happened there? As Supermug has retired.
and Wouter, I think he gets ahead of Leo. Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries there, but Wouter's taken P2, and Supermug didn't even survive 100 meters, I'm pretty sure, from his starting position right there. As we've got a virtual safety car. Aurelian keeping the lead ahead of Wouter now, who's jumped Leo once again right there. As Supermug understandably leaves the session after 1 lap only, so disaster of a race for the reserve driver right there. Nathan keeping up in P4. Of course, it's going to be difficult to match up with the top 3 right there, who looked really competitive right there. But P4 seems to be a good position for him, as Julian and Leroy are trying to keep up with the tempo. I think we're about to get going again, as cars are starting to go faster again. Of course, you don't want to speed under the VSC, otherwise you get a drive-through penalty, which would be a disaster. I think a decent start for Tony right there. Already gained 4 positions whilst the virtual safety got delivered quickly here. As we get going once again with Leo looking really aggressive right there. With all the drivers, look how close the grid right there is. With Nathan now going down the inside, and now Julian being tapped around there in the middle sector right there. As Alfa Romeo had a really good call of a sprint race right there, but now down to P11 right there. I think he got tapped by his teammate actually, which is far from ideal, or by Seep. I'm not too sure. As Taupe and Evans Joshua now go side by side right there, as now entering lap 2 right there. Of course, very interesting start right there, with many drivers battling here, despite it being such a long Grand Prix right there. Not sure why that is the approach, but hey ho, that's the approach the drivers take. What do you think of that start, Liam?
Again, another electrifying start, and Wouter getting the edge on Leo early on, and will definitely cause a little bit of problems in the Alpine garage. But maybe for Aurelian, he'll be celebrating. But, well, don't keep the eyes off the action just yet. I think we might see a little bit of moves from the midfield. And Kjorti Leroy, surprisingly, he doesn't get taken out in lap 1, which he usually does from experience.
We've got AJ
Oh,
Wuhan
and
now out of the session, spun in sector 2 unfortunately. We're actually on board with AJ Wuhan there, who's lost the car, and that brings out the second VSC right there, as AJ Wuhan's Williams is parked up now in the middle sector, so that's a DNF right there for the Williams driver. A bit of a disaster for him right there, as he had a okay start to the sprint race, but then got absolutely slaughtered there, and now hitting the curb there on the exit of Mexico, of the in the middle sector right there, and yeah, making sure his suspension went off far from what he wanted. So that brings out the second VSC right there. But from that, the drivers seem to be very ragged right there to gain so many positions, as we actually get going once again for the second restart there. The VSC is gone away right there, with Leo trying to follow Wouter once again. Is Nathan not able to follow, using a bit of ERS there, trying to get within the 1 second window of Leo to have DRS right there. But it looks like there's gonna be there's a gap stung to appear right now, as the grid of course are trying to get the tires to work in the optimal temperature. What do you reckon of that crash from AJ Wuhan, Leo?
I did not see it, but so I can't really comment on it too much. I'm not sure if he got topped out or if he just spun it on his own. Oh, there's another spinner. That's IRT Taupe. IRT Taupe has spun, and luckily no damage to his car yet.
Actually,
or
third
as
spinner.
of now.
Sorry to apologize. Oh, sorry to interrupt right there. We've got a third spinner right there. The McLaren of Nilu Safu has actually spun. So that's 2 out of 3 drivers we're actually bold with that we caught spinning in the middle sector right there. As the middle sector is really difficult to get right there, and you see it's curious getting out the drive right there. As Bombi set the fast lap at 19.406 right there, he might have to screenshot that, as he won't get another fast lap on this game probably. With Seep now at the back of Nathan here, as Nilu Safu picks up a 10-second penalty, cutting all the corners here, so I'm presuming he's going to retire from the session currently right there. But that's 4 laps right there, and 3 drivers spinning out right there, with Bombi now going down the inside of Recify right here, using all of the track there to get ahead of the Ferrari right there. Recify trying to stake ahead of Bombi, but Bombi on the medium tires has got way more grip, and up to P10 he goes, trying to catch up to Julian now, who's done quite well to come back from his spin on lap 1 right there. That's nearly Eero Snoken losing the car right there, not enjoying those hard tires as he did on the medium tires, and that allows Julian now to go down the inside of the McLaren right there. Indeed, coming into sector 3 right there, so good move there from Julian. Eero Snoken did a really good job to save that car, and now it's down to P9, but he's still in the mix within the 1 second window, but that does mean they're 2.5 seconds behind Evans Joshua right there. What makes you think the middle sector is so difficult to get right, Liam?
It could be just down to setup and of track conditions. It is very hard to nail the setup around here, as I've learned over the past couple of weeks. However, oh wow, there's a little bit of contact with Bumpy up ahead, sorry. But yeah, just track temperature and a little bit of setup. Yeah, I think it's just doing the drivers in a little bit. Pyro, actually, I've just noticed he hasn't had the best start. The start I was expecting. He's only up 8 positions, but I would expect him to be much higher up the grid as he approaches this little concertina now. And Evans Joshua, I think. Yeah, Evans Joshua's spun somehow, and he's found himself on the grass. He has suffered damage, so I'm not sure what's going on here. So that's a free position for everyone that was behind Evans Joshua, and I expect Evans to retire the car, but my oh my, that middle sector is catching everyone out. It's Pyro getting a little bit touchy with IRT Resify. Won't be good in the inter-team chats later on, but yeah, very interesting stuff at the moment.
Indeed. Another driving being catched out by the middle sector right there. Evans Joshua with a good sprint race right there, and a good initial start, but just losing the car and having to make a pit stop now, since he had left front end plate damage right there. So she's Svet in the pit lane right now. So this is far from ideal for Evan Sushin, who is an awful season right now. Most things out of his control. Is actually retired from the position in the pits, so that won't cause a safety car right now. As Julian has lost position to Bompi right there. Bompi getting a lot of positions. He's the only driver on the alternative strategy right now, and is really making it pay right there. As he's up to P8. Let me just quickly get the positions up right there, as only Resify currently got a penalty. Yeah, Boompje gained 7 positions from his start, so he started P15 and now all the way up to P8 there. So yes, alternate strategy really working out. And with Tony, he's actually had a really good start right there, because we've had two virtual safety cars, and he's gained 9 positions throughout. That's actually Resify nearly losing the car, with Tony now going down the inside right there into the last sector right there. So Resify really struggling on those hard tires right there, and Tony's got the move done, as he's now actually gained 10 positions right there, but he's losing so much time uh, behind all these drivers, as Aurelian is really managing the gap, with Leo being 3 tenths behind about right there. So Leo really showcasing his pace right there in the Alpine. So it looks like the Alpines have both got their set of works done well, with Boompje and Eero Snoken going side by side right now. Both drivers actually making contact with each other now. Going side by side there, with Bumpy now using a bit of ERS, and the DRS of course closing that ERS. Actually Julian now down the inside, we weren't even watching him, and he's got a double move done there, perfectly done by Julian right now. And oh my goodness,
Oh my god.
in
They're going to make it 3 wide in the double right-hander. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
And that doesn't work at all, no worries. Liam right there, as this battle's insane, with Tony getting another 2 positions, with Eero Snoken losing 3 positions within 2 corners right there. So Tony's got really got pace right now, and taught the move well, because these drivers tried to go 3 wide in the middle sector right now, which didn't work at all right there. So Tony's really been patient, and now up to P8. So what do you think of that move then, Liam?
Yeah, that was an excellent move from Tony. It was very weird going 3 wide, but I rate the attempt. However, Tony still got his work out cut out of him, because once he gets ahead of Julian, he's got to get 6 seconds on QRT Leroy, which is no easy feat at all. Speaking of QRT Leroy and his rivals ahead, Seb and Nathan JB were battling it out, so Seb getting the DRS on Nathan JB could go for another move into the stadium section now, mini stadium now. And no move for the moment. Nathan last of the late breakers, so it is. And yeah, gonna tuck in for behind. QRT Leroy maybe looking it down the inside, but was too tight to even make his car fit. So it's Pyro got 5.7 seconds to make up to the top 6. Can he make it work? Yes. But will he suffer any problems in the future? Maybe. So it's all about just nailing in the lap times and consistency at this
Indeed,
rate.
as we have another spinner, unfortunately, it's the Ferrari Resify, and actually his teammate Sosa Joe also spinning out right now. So both Ferraris doing a spinella right now, down to P14 and P15 right now. So a disaster for a race for Resify, who's had a really tough end to the season right there. But Tony's taking the fast lap right now, so Tony's got really good pace. He has clean air at the moment, so he can really push on this set of tires. Has make sure Julian lost the DRS right now, as Bumpy is really making it painful. That after P8 right now, Bumpy goes right there. So Tony's got clean air right now, doesn't have DRS, which will lose him about, I think, 5 tenths, 4 tenths minimum, because it's a very long straight we have here around Mexico. So we got another retirement there. That's 6 retirements, or 5 retirements there, only of the 9 laps right there. So that's not good from the drivers right there. They should just keep going, because there could always be a safety car right there, because you never could know what could happen later on. But Tony's got clear air and can just push on this set right there and gain all the time in the middle sector right now, as he nearly gained 6 tenths alone in the middle sector right there. So Tony's got really good performance right now. Will be enough to catch up to Aurelian, Bouter and Leo? I'm not too sure. I don't think it will, but he's certainly in the mix for a P4 finish at the moment.
Yeah, it will be a tough ask for Tony to get up to the top 3. However, top 6 is very possible. At this current rate, I think by lap 19 we could just see Pyro getting into the DRS of QRT Leroy. But of course, the one thing that's hindering these lot is, hindering Tony is the DRS. He's out of it, can't gain that much time down the straight, and will definitely hurt him in the long run. But don't count on it.
Indeed, indeed. Very good analysis right there. Also, I was actually involved with Aurelian and Boutzer there. And Kenny's car actually rejoined on the track and nearly took out Aurelian right there. So that's really interesting to see right there. And I do recommend drivers do not retire right there, because you can clearly saw that Aurelian got really, Boutzer and Leo nearly got taken out by the AI car trying to retire on track right there. So that's something to have to be fixed for next game, because if one of these drivers get damaged from that, it ruins their race without it being their fault at all. So drivers don't need to retire on track, should just keep going, and EA should fix what they were doing, or retirement on track, because it was clearly dangerous, because he was literally on the apex right there. But anyway, we're gonna focus on the race right now with Carl van der Berg saying the fastest lap right now. It's only positive point of the season so far right there.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Are you serious right now? Indeed. Are you serious right now? Indeed. Us actually Tope is in the DRS right now. He doesn't have a lot of ERS left. Has a difficult race so far, but of course he's a pad player, so I do expect that to be the case. With Leroy and Sieb going side by side now, both drivers actually giving room to each other right there, unlike any other drivers on the grid right now. With actually, never mind, Leroy squeezing him out again, Sieb keeping up P5. That allows Nathan JB to pull away now, but anytime they're battling, with Sieb actually making a mistake right now and letting Leroy go through, any mistake and battling they do, they will lose time to Tony, who's gained literally a second in that middle sector right now. Tony's got really good performance on the controller right there. As you see, is on the controller and is really struggling in terms of performance right there. And Tony's doing a really good job right there to catch up to the field right now. And Bombi is doing the same. He's still on that medium set of tires. Those mediums will start to fall off right now, as it is a standard one strategy right there for all the drivers. So Bombi's tires will start to fade away, and this is good news for Julian, who just stays within the 1 second window, using that DRS to gain time to the cars ahead. Checking out, and the leaders, they're just following each other here, with actually Leo having the most amount of ERS right there, having 78% right there. So Leo has got really good performance right now, with following Wouter and Aurelian. That's not an easy task to do at all. He can potentially go for the undercut right there, or overcut with the amount of ERS he has, and just push on that set of tires, and maybe take the lead once again. The best thing he can do is just not pick up any warnings right there, as he's actually really close to the back of Wouter. Wouter just doesn't seem to able to follow the car ahead right there. Of course, following Aurelian isn't easy at all, but he seems to be really struggling and losing the car in some corners compared to what Aurelian does right there. But how do you find the race so far, Liam?
I'll definitely calm down just a little bit, and up at the front I expected a little bit more fighting from Aurelian and Wouter, especially Leo, who's very, very close to the back of Wouter at some points. So yeah, for now it's kind of the dead point, but I'm sure that the race is going to come back. As speaking of coming back, it's Pyro, 1.4 seconds behind the likes of Sieb and Leroy, so it's looking good for Pyro at the moment. He just needs to keep his head down, score some good points, and I'm sure he'll be back in the fight up at the top in no time. Oh wow, and these two, Sieb and Leroy, they're fighting like cat and mouse.
Indeed, indeed. They're not playing the long game at all, as they're just losing so much time to Nathan right now, who's doing a really good job right there in the Alpha Tauri. That's not an easy season. Is of course has of course switched to no assist right now, but he's doing a really good job right now. He's only 5 seconds behind Leo, Bowser and Aurelia, so he is sort of in the mix between the drivers, and he's losing the time on the straight of course within the DRS as he actually hit the baller right there, but he is not losing that amount of time right there as Tope and Carl are also battling in the midfield right now. But Nathan's doing a really good job right now in the midfield by maintaining that 5-second gap with the leaders right there. So keep it up, Nathan. And now Tony is closing the gap to Seep and Leroy. Now down to a second right there. Tony driving a really good race at the moment as we nearing halfway of this Grand Prix right now. What would Tony do? Of course, he's now in the dirt here of the Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo right there. But if these two keep battling, then Tony can do the same to Bompje, Julian and Snoken right there by just going patient and waiting for mistakes of other drivers right there. If he has some battling somewhere in the field, I'm not sure where.
There's 5 and 6 battling for 5th place now. Kirti Leroy leaving the space to IRTC, but just don't count out Pyro just yet, as he may slip through. But this battle is looking clean and it's looking feisty, and Leroy adamant to keep his 5th place position for the Alfa Romeos. Of course, earlier in the season, I was in the Alfa Romeo before dropping out because, as the owners like to say, engineering for CTC. Watch me in the commentary box now, lads. But on a more serious note, it's getting spicy now when we're looking at a 3-way fight, potentially bringing the likes of Boompier, Julian, Kyle Scarlett, Snoken into the fight. Oh, and speaking of Boompier, in the pits he goes. And for him, no safety car has came out and benefited off that. So Boompier, he's having a tough race so far. I have to say.
Well, that might be the case, but he was down in P15 early on. But starting on the medium tires, he's really gained a lot of positions right now, and he was up to P8 right there. So in that case, he's driving a good race. And he was only about 2.5 seconds behind Tony, Seep, and Leroy right there. So and with them now being on the fresh hard tires, he can push on that set. Of course, the first lap will be difficult with the cold tires right there, but I think he's doing a fine job right now, but the second half of the race will be very difficult as we have got a retirement. It's Tony! It's talking about Tony!
Oh my god!
And it's out! Tony's out of the Grand Prix and brings out the safety car right there. So, like you said, Bobby didn't benefit from the safety car, and that safety car came out 1 lap too late right there. But this spiced up the championship a lot, with Aurelian now in the lead, and of course making a free pit stop right now. Everyone pitting right there. For hard tires right there, but this spiced up the championship right there. Another driver being called out by the middle sector there. The curves are so difficult to get right there, right there. But Tony, of course, being a power player, he had such good pace and just lost it probably in the middle of sector 2 right there. Yeah, what can we say? This is a massive championship influence right now. As Tony only had about a 30-point lead right there, but that will be wiped away with a horrible sprint race and then no points at all for no points at all for Tony. So this will definitely spice it up, and you must feel bad for Troy right there, because he couldn't join the session unfortunately, and he could have been one that could have benefited from that mistake, because he is still mathematically in the mix right there. But it's going to be very difficult for him right now, as there only will be 3 laps to go, or 3 rounds to go after this one. Yeah, what do you think of that then, Liam?
Wow, what's just happened? And honestly, I think the biggest beneficiary here is Boompier, because now he's got hard tires and they're definitely making it to the end. But as for the medium tires, they're going to die off towards the end of the race. So you don't know. You don't know what's going to go down at the moment. But for the likes of Aurelian, Wouter, Leo, they're going to be unhappy, since they've had that 5-second, 6-second lead to Nathan, and now that's all gone.
Indeed, indeed. Of course, the medium tires, Bumpy pit us 14 laps on those medium tires, so I'm not too sure how these other runners will survive another 7 more laps on those medium tires. So Bumpy, let's be honest, is one of the favorites to get a podium now. In the beginning it might be difficult, the first 10 laps, but then after let's say lap 31, I think it will be a very difficult race there for all the medium runners there, as Bumpy will really gain from that then, because he can make it to the end of the Grand Prix, like you said, Liam. So he's not going to be one to look out for. I think drivers like Taupe, Carl, Julian and Resify and of course Sausageau will try to gain positions from that, but if Bowman can keep his front wing, just watch others battle, stick within the 1 second window, then he's got a really good shot to have a really good finishing position.
Yeah, yeah. Not much I want to add at the moment. We are in the middle of a safety car, but for the middle, and for Tony, right? It's very interesting that he retired there, out of all places. His main championship rival, well, his main arch nemesis Troye isn't here, so he doesn't have any excuse now if he loses the championship at the end of this season, if Pirate does. This is one of these races where he can't mess up, but he has. So, not much more I could say.
As the safety cars actually coming in this lap, Aurelian had a 14 point gap behind Tony, and of course having a sprint race win, and now the lead in the actual race right now will swing championship around for him. Will he have the same result as Leo as he did in the sprint race right there? We're gonna find out, as he's taking a same approach there as Leo, trying to warm up his tires right there. Of course it's not easy despite the warm conditions here, as actually he's gone now. We get racing once again here in Mexico for tier 1 right there, with a good restart there from Aurelian, with Wouter being called out some sort there, with Leo being really close there as everyone's just forming a train right there, with Leroy making a move on Snowcomb right there for P6, again trying to follow Seed there right there, was still on P5 right there. And Kyle Scarlett not having a good restart, same for Bumpy of course, but he's on the hard tires, so he's gonna struggle on the first initial laps right there. But so far so good, for a clean restart, good restart there from Aurelian, and with Wouter not being able to get close at all right there, he's just settling it into P2. But what can Leo do? He's been behind the Mercedes driver for the entire race, being within 4 tenths, but just not able to use, or not able to get within a tenth of about right there. So it's going to be interesting to see what he is going to do there. Of course the medium tires are going to react differently to the hard tires. They're going to provide way more grip, but are the drivers going to try to save the tires till the end of the Grand Prix, or are just going to push like hell and then go maybe going to stop to pit again, to go on a soft set, to push on that set. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers will approach this end of the Grand Prix, as the safety car didn't arrive on the easiest period right there. But we can see Nathan actually sticking within the 1 second window of Leo right there. Same for Seeb right there. So Seeb on the controller is doing a really good job right there, sticking within the 1 second window of Nathan right there. Of course using a bit of ERS right there. Same for Nathan right there. But they're still sticking within the 1 second window, as Bowser's nearly losing DRS right to Aurelian. Of course there's no DRS in the first 3 laps right there. But once that happens, then the field will start to spread out a bit more. So you don't want to lose that 1 second window like Bumpy is currently doing right there. Of course it's a very difficult scene for him right now, with the mediums providing a lot of grip right there, as Carl and Julian are now battling for P11 right there. Between of course the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo, with Carl making a move stick there around the outside. Lovely move there from the Red Bull driver. Can he get within the 1 second window of the Haas right now of Taupe, who is doing a fine job right there in the Haas, just following his teammate there. He knows his teammate is playing the long game, with Resify being a Corner cutting merchant once again picking up another penalty right there in the Ferrari. Both Ferraris now in 13th and 14th with Socio picking up also a penalty. So these Ferraris don't know track limits at all, so they gotta read the map or something to know where the track limits are. As
Oh,
DRS is enabled right now, with Wouter losing DRS. Interestingly, he's only got 20% ERS, so Wouter's really circling on those medium tires, and Aurelian's got really strong pace at the moment. Cleared 1 second window of cleared Wouter for 1 second. Same Nathan. Nathan just can't at the pace at the moment. Because we've got a spinner right there. I don't know what it is. It's Snoken making a mistake right there, so that promotes both Haas up to 8th and 9th for there. Gunther Steiner must be delighted with that performance at the moment for both the drivers right there. Carl also getting a position right there, so that's a shame for Snoken, who was following Carl Scarlett right now. Actually being forced right there now. Julian and Restify and Sausage Joe in the battle right now, with Restify making a lovely overtake around the outside, but just can't make it stick right there, unfortunately. So Restify has got to follow the tempo once again. The corner cutting merchant with Aero Snoken now pick up a penalty right now, and Leroy has actually made a mistake right there. So Carl now up to P6. So it is sneakily looking good for both AlphaTauris. Now in P4 and P6 right there. So you do have to remember the Constructors Championship right there. Of course, it is tier 1. 2 drivers for the same team can score points, and then it's being bunched up with tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So every point you can gain for the Team's Constructors Championship is of course a very good job there for both AlphaTauris, and both Alpines looking very good. Of course, they locked out front row. They're 1st and 3rd right now, and Leo has got really strong pace right now. Wouter's light is actually flashing, and Leo using a bit of ERS, but he can't get near him. He can't get it within that 1/10. He's nearly touching his rear wing, but he just can't get close, and Wouter isn't able to get within the 1 second window of Aurelian, as he's actually got 6% ERS right there. So this is very unlike Wouter right there, as Bonepie has actually, I think, spun out right there, down to P11 right now. Not the end of the world right there, but it's still not ideal for him, as he's dropped about 2.5 seconds behind his teammate right there. So, or a second, I do apologize, but he doesn't have a penalty, so he just needs to stay patient, as there's still 15 laps to go, and it will be very difficult for the medium tires to survive. What do you think right now of the race, Liam?
well, Wouter dropping out that 1 second is crucial for Leo, who can secure the 1-2 for Alpine, as he seems to be pushing a little bit now, trying to get within Wouter's side pod, and now they've gone side by side. Wouter not really putting up much of a defense, so maybe he's playing the long game. Wouter is, and for Leo now, it's all about pushing and getting within Shazur Aurelian's DRS, which is no easy task at all against a French driver. But for Leo, what an honour that would be if he gets within that 1 second of Shazur Aurelian.
Indeed, as actually Seep is overtaking Nathan right there for P4, so Seep on the controller is doing a really good job right there. For the Aston Martin team. His teammate Ishit Kush isn't here today, but he's really doing a good job, and his teammate actually retired, as Bonepie has got the 3-second penalty with Leroy spun. Leroy is now spun from P7, so that promotes Carl. Are you serious right now, bro? Up to P7 right there, with Tope now up to P8 without the penalty on the controller. So Tope is looking for a good result there on his debut right now, but he's got Snoken, Bonepie, Julian, Resify, and then Sausage Joe all following, with Leo is taking the fast lap right now. So this shows his pace in some sort of clean air right now. Will Wouter use Leo as a how do you call it? Just he's gonna try to follow Leo right there, who's trying to get within the Australian.
Just using him as a tow, essentially, just to save that ARS, maybe even just use Aurelian or Leo. Yeah, like you said, to get within the 1 second of Aurelian. But again, no easy task. And it's proving right now, as Aurelian just keeps pulling from Leo.
Indeed, indeed. Both Alpines are playing a strong game right now. I don't think, of course, this is a drivers' championship and not really team championship. You want to get your personal result, of course. You want to finish as high up as possible. But with it being your teammate, and of course you want you still want to win it at the end of the day, the constructors championship right there. But Leo's just driving a really strong race. Bouter's really struggling in terms of setup wise, as Snoke now overtakes Tope right there. I think Tope might have made a mistake right there, but he doesn't have a penalty. So as long as he can keep this going, he's still on course for P7 result. But Leo's driving a really strong race right there, as we have got Leroy's car coming back on the field right now. Another car retiring in the pits right now. Not something, it isn't ideal. But drivers have to stop doing that, because you never know what's going to happen, and the spin doesn't happen. Spin is part of racing. You just got to carry on, and then there might be a safety car, like what happened with Resify, for example, who's actually in last right now. As we have 7 retirements, unfortunately. It's not a happy sight to see, as Aero Snoken has actually gone around the outside of Carl van der Berg right there. Lovely job there for the McLaren, making his way out to the field once again. He does have a penalty. Let me quickly get the penalty standard up once again. There you go. We've got 3 seconds for Nathan JP. Still driving a strong race behind C right there in P5. Still a good job from Cal Scarlett. Scarlett as well. He's now in P6 and he will finish P5 if it still stays like this. Aerosnoke actually picking up another 3-second penalty, so he's up to 6 seconds now. Carl is on 6 seconds, Tope on 0, Julian on 0, Bompy on 3 seconds, Sausage Joe on 3 seconds, and Resify on 6 seconds. Would have expected more by now, but he's actually learned to drive the track for once.
And dissing all the drivers you can imagine now. Can't tell if you're unhappy with your drivers or just joking around. However, a lot of penalties, being picked up, and surprisingly, I'm surprised Sieb hasn't picked up a penalty yet, considering he is on a pad, and this is completely not a pad circuit. So, really interesting to say the least.
Also, we've got another Ferrari spinning, unfortunately, and now Tope is getting past Carl van der Berg, who's actually lost 2 positions right now. Are you serious right now? Yes, he's lost 2 positions right there, with Aero Snoken getting past for P7. Carl using every bit of track, even outside of the track, and now Julian getting past right there.
Oh my god, they make a little bit of contact, and he's into the wall.
And he's into the wall. That makes the 8th retirement, and will this bring out the safety car? It does.
Yes, it will.
I don't think.
And now this can.
Go on.
No, you go on.
It's not been it's not been an ideal race in terms of driving stance, but this will definitely spice up the grid with the top 3 staying out right there. Sieb staying out, Nathan staying out, Cal staying out. But I expect someone like Aero Snoken, Tope, all to pit now for the set of soft tires, and indeed they do. Well, actually, Tope stays out, but it's Aero Snoken going into the pits there for potentially a set of soft tires. Julian pitting, Bompy pitting, Resify pitting, and Sausage Joe staying right there. And actually, Resify has picked up a 3 or 5 second penalty for making contact with Bompy right there, so he's up to 11 seconds now. I'm not sure how he's done that, so he's made up the rulebook even more special for him. Right there, but he's now in last, but he is interestingly on the soft tires, so he can actually try to overtake someone for once right here, because the cars will now start to bunch up right now. But this is gonna spice up this race once more. The safety car came out because Carl made contact there with Julian. Julian was on the outside of Carl, and it looks like, I think Carl just got squeezed in a bit and hit the wall slightly. He didn't lose his front wing, but he lost his right front suspension, which is interesting to see, because he went front wing into the wall right there. But hey yo, who makes we don't make F1 physics right there. But this brings out another another safety car, the 3rd safety car of the race, I'm pretty sure, or the first actual. No, the 2nd actual safety car and 2 first safety cars we had. So as Resify picks up another penalty, so God knows where he's going on track right now. He's got 14 seconds right now. So I do expect him to make a pit stop right now to to remove that 5 second penalty, so he can, yeah, so he's got 5 seconds less. That's, I think, the most understanding decision he can make, to be honest. Tope is still staying out on those tires, as actually Sausage Joe is making another pit stop right now. Same for Julian, and Restra indeed is making another pit stop right there. So we read its mind right there, as he's actually getting a new front wing. So he picked up damage going into the pits, I'm pretty sure, and then he's had to do another pit right there. As actually Julian also going into the pits for a new set of soft tires. That one lap will make a massive difference, since the tires will wear quite a bit, since they are the softest tires right here. Actually, Tope is not to P7 right there. He was just now in P8. I'm not sure what happened right there. I'm pretty sure he was behind Eero Snoken, but he's now ahead of him. So not sure what's happened right there. But he's in P7. It's gonna be a difficult job for him to defend against those soft runners. But those soft runners do have to do about 10 laps right there on those tires, which isn't an easy task to do at all.
No, it isn't. But interesting from anyone who's gone to the softs. We've only got 9 laps. We still got 9 laps left in this race, which for softs is an absolute marathon. And by the end, they will be dead in puncture territory. So anyone on the softs now is going to have to be looking at the F1 gods and pleading that their tires don't burst at the end. However, for the likes of Aurelion, Leo, Wouter, they can start thinking about going autopilot again and pushing.
Indeed, but it is going to be different. Drivers will take a different approach, since it's only 9 laps to go after you've crossed the line right there. It's going to be different right now, because I think drivers will now try to gain as many positions as they can, since time is actually running out right there. As Tope is entering the pits. Tope is entering the pits. This is an interesting strategy right there from the Haas driver. So he thinks all those drivers, he's probably gonna get overtaken right there on the medium tire. So he thinks, I'm gonna go at the back, I've got no penalties, and then try to gain positions after. But because he will now have about 2 laps fresher tires than the rest of the grid. So that's a smart play there from Tope right there, by staying out and then catching up to the field right now to have this fresh set of soft tires left. Interestingly, as we now catch up to the paddock right now, we may have update that Carl's wheel has officially broken. His Logitech may never be used once again, so that incident hasn't been ideal for his wheel. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, I want to see some footage of that. He's been voted driver of the day by Evans Joshua, so I want to see some footage of that, because we're of course behind the safety car right now. We do expect it to come in this lap right there. As Aurelian is trying to warm up his tires using every bit of the track. What will happen between both Alpines, because both Alpines have been really good at safety car restart, and Wouter hasn't been that ideal today behind the safety car restart. Of course, it's not easy to get right. Of course, as I'm checking actually right now, is he Wouter's not on control, is he? Or am I tripping? I think he is. If you go on board with him right now, I think that's for sure. Yeah, I think that's
he's definitely in control.
That's interesting. I never knew that. See Wouter on a controller right there, so he's actually doing a really good job for him being on a controller. But actually, we get going once again. Doesn't matter if he's on a controller. Good restart there by Aurelian, who's trying to warm up his tires right now from his teammate, who's actually driving in a straight line, actually getting really close right there, but not using ERS. There, as he's battling in midfield right now with Scarlett going side by side with his AlphaTauri teammate Nathan right there, but not making the move stick. Right there with Scarlett thinking of the team constructors temperature right there, but that leaves him vulnerable to Snoken right there. He's actually on the soft tires right now, going around the outside of the AlphaTauri. He goes and actually making contact right there. McLaren does, going side by side still. heading into sector 2 right now. Where's Scarlet? He's behind him right now, so good overtake there from Eero Snokum, who's now trying to get ahead of Nathan right there. But actually Bonebeat hiding around the outside of Carl Scarlet. What a move there from IoT Bonebeat there right now. He's probably gonna get overtake of the week right there by Xmatic G right there. So what a move there from IoT Bonebeat. He's got 3-second penalties, but he's for sure got the pace right now to gain as many positions as he can. With Resfire making an overtake on his teammate there around the outside of Sausage Joe right there. And Resfire leaving no room to his teammate there. Doesn't care that easy. It is his teammate right there. Good move there from Resfire, and he's actually gained the position. And now trying to follow Julian right there, who's trying to update Scarlet, who's getting humiliated on those medium tires. Soft tires really providing a lot of grip as we have 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix, with Eero Snoker now going down the inside of Nathan right there. Good move there from the McLaren, who's really gaining a lot of position right now.
It's all about keeping it clean and just making the moves count where it needs to. And now Boompier has made the move on Cyril Nathan JB. Nathan absolutely getting ragged with them mediums. And now, same way as teammate Cal Scarrett, we might see a little bit more medium ass beating. However, the fight's not over yet at the top. Leo keeping 7 tenths, 8 tenths now to Aurelion, and Aurelion just absolutely toying with the other Alpine at the moment, just showing his superiority in terms of pace and just the experience that Aurelion has. And yeah, it's really coming into play now, really coming to show. And as for the soft runner, Snoken, he's getting really, really close now to Sieb and could snap away 4th position, given that his penalty does not demote him further down the field. He has 6 seconds of penalty at the moment, so it will be a tough ask for the likes of Snoken to really make that time up.
Well, I think the best thing is to stick within the 1 second window of Sieb, because then Sieb can just try to follow Wouter right there, and then he can just follow along because he's nearly clearing Bumpy of the 1 second window right there. So I think the best thing is just to follow for him and then just try to create the 6 seconds gap to cars behind, because they have penalties as well. So that's the best they can do, because he's ideally in a fight with Kyle right there in P9, because he will be there at the end of the race. Those softs will not last. They will probably be at their best for another 1 lap of race 5, because picks up another penalty in P10 right now. So God, now he probably needs racing line turn on once again, because then he will pick up less warnings right there. But that means he will be probably at the back with Taupe now. In P11, moved ahead of the other Ferrari. So a difficult day for Ferrari there, as his one driver couldn't get in the session right there, so they had to use their reserve, and the reserve hasn't had an easy race. I'm pretty sure he's a tier 2 reserve, so can't fault him much. But I was actually involved with the McLaren right now, trying to move ahead of Sieb right now, down the inside into turn 1. Good move there from the McLaren. As actually he's gonna try to catch up to the top 3 right now. So good.
Yeah, has the pace on these tires.
He's got the pace on his tires indeed. He's gonna try to move within the 1 second window, and he's still interesting. Still within the 1 second window. Bumpy up to P6 right now, within 4 tenths of Sieber now. Sieber's got to defend for his life right there. As these tires, the medium tires, won't be at their best as well. We do have to realize that those mediums are not in a good state as well, so this could be a good opportunity for Julian and Tobe right there. Sieb has actually lost position right now, because Sieb has actually lost the car there in the middle sector. Another driver being called out, and he's been spun out right there by Nathan, it looks like. So that could be a penalty for the AlphaTauri driver right there, but that ruins Sieb's race. He had such a strong performance on the controller, was up to P4, P5 for most of the race, and now all the way down to P15 or P12, sorry. But he's got to keep on pushing, because these softs won't last forever, as Julian's at the fast lap with a 17.9 there. He's actually in the reverse window of Bombi right now, so this will spice up the race for sure, with Nathan outside the 1 second window of these guys right there, with Tobe now moving ahead of Restify now for
Sorry,
P9.
can I interrupt you real quick?
Of course.
Snoken and Voucher gone side by side, argy bargy from the middle, the middle of the first sector, and wow, he's just given back to position. Almost broke check Voucher. I'm sorry to interrupt you right there, but it was
no
too
worries.
good not to miss. But wow, what a battle we're having so far with the top drivers, and even now as well. Aurelian's got 5 tenths to Leo, and Leo's doing everything he can to try and get ahead of his Alpine teammate, and it will be a spicy one. Just you wait. I believe this will be a very, very good battle.
Because Leo is within half a second of Aurelian right. Really good performance right there, and Wouter really struggling right now with Snoke actually going ahead, and Wouter picking up a 3-second penalty right there. So Wouter really struggling on this stage car restart right there, and losing quite a lot of positions, with Julian being within 1/10 of Wouter right there. He's got more straight line speed there, but Julian just can't get clear of him, and Leo can't get nearby Aurelian, who's got 76% ERS. So actually Aurelian is quite comfortable right now. Both Alpines doing a fantastic job right now throughout the entire weekend, pretty much, because they've been locked down the front row in the sprint race. They've been competitive, and it shows once again in the main race that the pace is really strong and better than anyone else on the grid right here. And Snoken is doing a fine job as well in P3. Has got penalties. Let me check the penalty count really quickly. He does have 6 seconds, but if he can move 1 second clear of Wouter, then he could potentially move 1.5 seconds clear. Because it could be Julian or Bombi who's gonna podium right now if things go their way here, or actually Carl Scarlett on the podium right here in P7. Could off-tire driver go on the podium if these soft tires do not last, and Julian has actually moved up to P4 now with the overtake in the last sector on Wouter here. The job for Wouter now is to try to get ahead of him, ahead of Julian again, and Julian has got to catch up to Snoken right now, who's 1.6 seconds clear. So it is falling into Snoken's hand with 2 laps to go right here of this Grand Prix.
Oh my God, there's battling. Oh wait, no, I thought it was the lead. Sorry, sorry, I almost had a heart attack. I thought there was battling at the front, but it was just Julian and Wouter. Oh my God!
Wouter nearly squeezing out Julian right there. Wouter getting his elbows right there, and then gets Bombi to move ahead of Julian once again, and Carl is also in the mix right there, and Tobe also in the battle right there. He doesn't have any penalties right now, so he could be in the mix for podium as well. P4 at least, because Snoke is really pulling away. Wouter, you really struggling on those medium tires. Those medium tires have completely fell off the cliff right there. I'm not sure how Leo and Aurelian can manage these, because Wouter's losing so much time right there. Does Wouter have some damage potentially? I'm not too sure, but he's really struggling on this set of tires.
Wouter's tires are on life support. I think it's fair to say that much.
Indeed, that's a fair comment there, Liam. As Wouter.
Oh my God! They're gonna. Julian's just sent it on the inside.
But it doesn't make stick. That's not a usual corner to go side by side, unless you're Maldonado, of course, who tries everything on F1. As we're entering the final lap right now of this Grand Prix, will Bombi try to make an overtake as Restify because of another penalty? What a sweaty merchant he is. But we're gonna move ahead of Bombi. On board with Bombi once again. Can he get close to Wouter's rear wing? He can't, because he doesn't have any ERS left. What does he have left in these tires? What has Wouter left in his tires right there? I'm not too sure here, but we're on board with the final. Can Bombi make the move stick now? As actually Carlos moved ahead of Julian right there. So many battles happening right now. I can't keep up with it at all. With Bombi actually trying to go down the inside there, but can't get it stick. So I think Wouter's actually going to defend this P4 right there with all his life he's got. And Tobe will also gain many positions, because he'll move ahead of Wouter and Bombi and Julian right there. So he's in a provisional P5. He doesn't pick up any warning. But we're gonna switch over to both Alpines now, who've done an amazing job in the Grand Prix, and especially Aurelian managing the gap, and he's gonna take the provisional championship lead right here with Tony's DNF. It is Aurelian coming around the final corner right now to take the Mexican Grand Prix into turn 1 with it ahead of his teammate Leo, both making a spin there on the exit. Aero Snogan taking P3 right there. Very good job right there. It's P5 for Tobe right there. Actually, Cal Scarlett has picked up P3. Stoken has not pulled away enough. 3 tenths was the gap. And actually, it's the Alpha Tauri to pick up a podium right there. Very good performance right there for the Alpha Tauri driver. It's P4 for the McLaren. Haas of Tobe on his debut, picking up a P5. Wouter P6, Bumpy P7, Julian P8, Nathan in P9, Seep still making up in P10 despite its good performance, and then it's both Royce in P11 and P12. But my goodness, what a race we saw right there.
Yeah, what an end to the race it was, and honestly, that was very, very, very entertaining towards the end. Honestly, driver of the day for me has to go to Leo. It has to go to has to go to Leo.
For sure. I mean, he's certainly up there. I think we could give it to one of the Alpines, but I think both deserve it, to be honest, because they've played the team game, they've looked out the front row, and yeah, they've done an amazing job, both of them. So I think you can't give it to one of them because both deserve it. Both deserve it equally as much. They share the same amount of pace, and yes, I think the rest of the day goes to or team of the day, and that's Alpine, because they've done an amazing job. 1-2, 1-2 in sprint, and 1-2 in the race. And also Kyle Scarlett has done a really good job picking up a podium there. His first podium, I think it's one. He said.
He did say that it is his first podium.
He didn't mention that in the chat, but Bombi did mention his penalty might get removed, but anyway, that was a really good race we saw there, Liam. Thank you for joining us in the commentary box. And next week we'll be back for. Let me quickly get.
It was Jeddah.
It's Jeddah. That's going to be another interesting Grand Prix. Certainly for the controller users, it will be difficult. We're going to see hopefully a response from Tony right there, as he's lost the championship lead for the first time this season, with Aurelian doing a clean sweep pretty much right there. With picking up the win in the sprint and in the main event. So good job for both Alpines. My name is Stefan, and we'll see you guys next week. Liam, do you have anything to say still for the stream?
No, it was a pleasure joining you in the commentary booth. It wasn't the best race, but it was an entertaining race at the same time.
For sure.
I'm very happy to commentate alongside you, mate.
I appreciate that, mate. Of course, it was a very interesting Grand Prix. Driving standards not maybe the best. See a lot of pit retirements, which is something we don't want to see. So hopefully it will be tuned down next week. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. Who knows, we'll be back. Hopefully we'll see Jamie back. And if Jamie isn't back, then it will probably be us two once again commentating for you guys. So have a good evening, everyone, and we'll speak to you guys later. Bye, guys.